Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, Reality Reads. If you're new here, thank you for joining. It is time for yet another round of Reality Roundup. In today's video, we are going to be chatting about Survivor, Dancing with the Stars, and The Amazing Race. So let's not waste any time, let's dive right in. I want to start today's video with Dancing with the Stars because I actually feel like I have a lot to say about this week's episode. First off, I want to start with some of our top scorers and some of my opinions there. Now, number one, I'm a huge Mark Ballas fan, and I 100% agree that Mark and Whitney deserved a 9 for this week. I think that the choreography that Mark did for their number was absolutely phenomenal, and Whitney did a fantabulous job. However, the part that I have a problem with is I also really loved Val and Alix's dance. I thought the choreography for that number was also fantastic. And I also think that Alix did a phenomenal job, not only on the choreography, but I feel like the character that she had to get into would be a little bit harder than the character Whitney had to play. And Alix did such a great job getting into that character. And the fact that she didn't get a 9, I was just feeling a little bit perplexed. Those were definitely my two favorite numbers of the night, 100%. The other thing I want to talk about is the thing I've been talking about all season, which is Robert Irwin. And I know that his partner Whitney is not very happy with their scores for this week. She's made a couple comments in some of the interviews after the show about how song choice wasn't up to them and it wasn't a good dance style to go with that song choice. And all of those different kinds of things. Valid points being made. Totally understand it. However, I still think that the critiques that were given for this week specifically just really kind of track with what I've been saying about Robert all season long so far. I genuinely was surprised to see them drop them so low this week, but I also feel like it's kind of warranted. And I feel like they just weren't really expecting people like Alix and Whitney to really be as liked by the audience as what they are. They were really trying to lean into the Robert Irwin of it all, but now they have these other people that have really kind of surprised them, and now they don't need him as much. So I think they're being more realistic or honest in their judging and critiquing of him. We will see how this next week goes. But literally, I think Whitney has been doing such a phenomenal job this whole time. But I hope that they start also giving some other people their flowers when they deserve it. Because Whitney is definitely the front runner as far as technique and things go. But man, I just can't get over and I don't know who Alix Earl is. I don't follow her. I know she's an influencer or whatever, but this isn't coming from someone that is obsessed with Alix Earl or is a fan of hers or whatever. Genuinely, I just think she did a phenomenal job this week. And if someone was going to get a 9, I think it should have been her. Moving on to Survivor. I was really nervous to watch this episode knowing the whole snake bite of it all because your girl is extremely afraid of snakes even on the TV. So I was glad that it wasn't too crazy of a snake bite situation, but I genuinely was shocked that Jake got medically evacuated based on this whole situation. I feel like we could have just given him a couple more hours and let him chill for a bit and put him back in the game. I don't know. That's just my opinion. If it was a dry-by and we're not worried about the actual health issue of it all, the emotional part I feel like should have been more his call than a medical professional's call. That's just my opinion. I personally, if I was on a game show and got pulled for that reason, you should be more worried about my emotions for that decision than what just happened, because I would be freaking out. I do know based on his press interviews that he did post episode, he was taken to a different hospital in Australia for a couple days of observation just to be 100% sure that there, was no venom and it truly was a drive-by and that health-wise he was totally fine. So part of me is wondering, like, did they just kind of explain the whole dry bite situation and then use the emotional part of it as more of an excuse? I don't know. But I genuinely was like shocked, jaw on the floor, when the doctor was like, yeah, no, because of like the emotional toll this is going to take, I would not clear him to go back to the game. I was like, excuse me? I thought that it was really cool to see the other tribes kind of care about the Kella tribe and their like emotional turmoil that they've been in literally almost this whole season. And then that one was like a really big hit before the challenge, and them not celebrating after winning the challenge because they're like, it's really bittersweet because it sucks that these people are in actual hell right now and we're just coasting, you know? I think, spoiler if you didn't watch the like preview for next week that they show at the end of the episode, I'm going to talk about that now. But in that preview, we see that the two remaining Kella people, Sophie B and Alix, they get put on one of the other tribes. You know, they're split up and put onto the remaining two tribes, which I'm excited for. I much prefer a 2-tribe format over this 3-tribe business, because I feel like in the 3-tribe, like, it's way more consistently like one team that just sucks, or one tribe, sorry. And so it's kind of annoying. I don't find that enjoyable to watch, honestly. I like to see there be like shifts in power. We see that the two of them are going to be split up and put onto the remaining 2 tribes. And I'm really hoping for Sophie B in particular, because you know that's who I'm rooting for this season. That's my girl. I'm hoping that whatever tribe she ends up on, that the sympathy factor kind of helps her. I really, really want Sophie to make it far, and she has a pretty good social game. I mean, we saw it all play out on the episode where she definitely could have been voted out and she made it happen to where she wasn't. But I really am hoping that that really helps buy her a little bit of favor until she can kind of get in there a little bit stronger with her social game. So I actually am excited to kind of see how this next week's episode goes, just because I do want to see what the dynamics are going to be with this new person joining the tribe. Survivor's kind of picking it up a little bit. It's just like a smidge more excitement than what I've been having recently, but still a smidge is better than nothing. So we will definitely have to see how this next week plays out. And now, of course, to round out the episode, we are going to talk about the amazing race full of previous Big Brother players. I'm absolutely loving this season of The Amazing Race. And the outcome of this leg is the leg of the race that I had been spoiled on. I actually didn't know exactly which leg Megan and Turner got eliminated on. I just knew it was very, very early. And the reason that I got spoiled is because I do follow Turner on TikTok, or at least I did at the time. I'm not sure that I still do. But I knew when filming started for The Amazing Race, like there was a lot of people in the Big Brother community talking about it. And it was literally only a few days later that Turner was on live on TikTok, and everyone in the comments was like, aren't you supposed to be somewhere else right now? Like, what is going on? We thought you were on the cast. And he just really kind of like ignored all the comments that people were leaving. But like, it was obvious that he had been eliminated. So anyways, I have gotten spoiled about that. But just overall, I'm really enjoying this season. It's crazy to see how they really are kind of like big brothering The Amazing Race with all the alliances, and like actually factually being an alliance, like Natalie and Stephanie taking the time to write down directions for Joseph and Adam and Jag and Jazz. That was mind-blowing to me. But they do have like an extremely huge lead right now. I'm really hoping